DP is an old party that has got partners. For instance, since 1961, we have been in a partnership with the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. That's the political foundation of the ruling party in Germany, the Christian Democrats Union. There have been changes in policies, so there have been budget cuts. We have our partners from our sister party, the Republican Party of the United States, the International Republican Institute. As you know, they get their funding from USAID. There have been budget cuts. In fact, USAID has been dissolved. So, amidst all the challenges of logistics, we want to assure our delegates that adequate provision have been made to transport them, feed them, and accommodate them. The purpose is really to ensure that delegates don't spend their own money to participate in the delegates conference. It's not an opportunity for earning. Nobody is going to earn anything, but expenses will be covered. That is the assurance we want to give to all the delegates. Secondly, we want to assure the delegates of security. In 2020, we had a national organizing secretary called Sulaiman Chidandala. Instead of working for DP, he registered party members and took the register books to the NUP. Then thereafter, he mobilized hooligans and they came here. And they were singing Tuagala Bobby Simao. And we were surprised that those who claim to be DP, instead, they are interested in supporting a candidate of another party. That's the reason why the National Executive Committee suspended him from that position. This party has a constitution, of course, and the constitution is full of safeguards for members' interests. One of the most important safeguards is democracy, that members should be free to participate in decision making. And when a decision has been taken which you don't like, there are also ways of you expressing your dislike for that decision. And hooliganism is not one of the ways. Unfortunately, Sulaiman Chidandala is now in prison in South Korea because after his political career floundered, chose another career of human trafficking. So he was arrested by the South Korean authorities. As Minister of Justice, I'm now the one struggling to bring him back to Uganda. Because it is the duty of the Uganda government to take care of every citizen. The government does not just take care of good people. The government also takes care of bad people. That's why even when robbers are shot by police, they are rushed to hospital. When you, who is a law-abiding citizen, sometimes the police may not even take you to hospital. So we would like you to understand clearly the role of the state. Politics has a playing field. And the political parties are like teams that play. So nobody should tamper with the tournament. Now the people who come here as hooligans, they are spoiling the tournament. For nothing really. Like the kind of people who were pouring acid on people in Wakiso just because they were wearing yellow. Why do you pour acid on me? Some of you don't know why I never joined my father's party, UPC. Because when I attended a rally one time, The UPC youth wingers ambushed us and stoned us and beat us. Then I told my father, how do you recruit me by beating me up? So I told him, I'll never join your party. When I joined Makerere, I assured him that I would join DP. So we would like to assure all the delegates of total security. Only those who have the invitation from the National Secretariat to attend the delegates conference will be allowed at the venue. Those who don't have invitation will not be allowed. And every measure will be taken to contain those who have already shown their plans. The Baganda say, "Ekijomanyi kinyaga bitono." So now that we know the tactics of some people who don't believe in our party and they don't believe in our constitution, we shall be better prepared. This has been a very peaceful place. Even the gate has been open. And when I got the phone call that there were hooligans, I gave orders that the gate should be left open. Because I really want to see someone who wants to come in here and start beating up the president of DP. I want to see that person. I'm really waiting for that person. And that's why I even told my security car, don't come with me. I'm only going to go in my car. I really want to look in the eye that person who believes that the way to solve DP's problems is to beat up Nobert Mao. But the people who were here stopped me. I wanted to come when they were making the noise. They said, don't come. I really wanted to come. Because I don't fight physically, but I fight. So the delegates of DP should be assured that we shall have a delegates conference whose main highlight is really to elect leaders. Some of us are candidates, and there are some interests. The party has some issues, but those issues are supposed to be settled in formal meetings of the party organs. We had a meeting in Soroti of both the National Executive Committee and the National Council. Whatever contentious issues will be resolved in formal meetings. All the members of the party actually obey the constitution. But there are a handful of people. In our party, we call them the Kabaka Yeka. We have Kabaka Yeka elements in the party who are now telling us that we have hijacked their grandfather's party. I thought parties are based on beliefs. It is not based on which tribe you belong to. They call it a KIBIINA Chabajaja. That the party was sold, but then again they came and got nominated to lead the party. But anyway, the time for comedy is over, and anybody who comes to try comedy in Mbarara will regret. You can quote me on that. That whoever comes to try any comedy in Mbarara will regret, because the party has a constitution. But we have always exercised our powers under the constitution with a lot of restraint. We have never expelled anybody, we have never suspended anybody without a process. Even somebody like Betty Namboze, we appointed a full committee to investigate her activities. Some of her ideas are being promoted by some extremists. Finally, the purpose of DP right now is really to save Uganda from extremism in politics. And there's extremism on both sides. There's extremism in the ruling party. There's extremism in the so-called opposition. We have to save our country from extremism. I personally believe that this country belongs to all of us, and the leaders of the political parties must behave responsibly like a team of doctors that are saving the life of a dying patient, a patient that is critically ill. Obviously, DP needs healing, but unfortunately some people want to inflict more injuries on DP, like these hooligans who came here. So, of course, the country also needs healing. That's why you had the president recently, the other day, giving a heartfelt apology. That's not the first time he has done it. You journalists remember when Uganda was celebrating the Jubilee, 50 years, he led the country in a prayer of repentance. Again, he has led the way to repent. That means the head of state recognizes that there's need for national healing. And DP is the party that is leading national healing because we have suffered more than any other party. Per capita, we have lost more leaders killed because of bad politics. So the team I lead, the leaders of DP are committed to fighting what in Swahili is called siasa mbaya, bad politics. It's our duty to fight bad politics so that we have good politics. As I talk now, delegates are traveling to Mbarara. And the majority of the DP delegates understand the Uganda we are in. They understand that this is not the time to fight for the steering of the party because we are in a lot of turbulence. DP is not going anywhere. Those who are qualified to lead it will lead it because it is going to be around. And nobody can kill DP, nobody can sell DP, nobody can hijack DP. And in DP, you don't become a leader through violence. It has never happened, and it will never happen. So we really regret what happened, but we shall take appropriate measures. After all, we know the people who are behind these machinations. The party constitution has provisions that will deal with them. The other issue which I have been asked to comment about by some journalists regards the meeting that was held at our home in Gulu. Some DP leaders gathered in Gulu. The purpose of the meeting was to meet the chief coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation. That request actually came to me through a military veteran. He's a member of the NEC. He's called Fred Oyonga. He's a veteran of wars, your wars, you Ugandans, which we hope you will avoid, because a lot of the young people seem not to know what a war is like. At least us in the north, we know what a war is like. But I think some people are inviting it. And God normally answers prayers. And God may answer your prayers. So this veteran of the war met me when I went to consult delegates in Iganga. And then he told me, you are our leader, you are also a minister in the government. We are seeing the president moving around the country, talking about government programs. People are receiving seeds, cows, goats. They are receiving tractors. Are we DPs not citizens of Uganda? Are we not also supposed to receive those things? We want to meet the chief coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation and talk to him. And we know he's your friend. That I won't deny. We have a personal friendship with the chief coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation, a friendship which dates back to 1996, when he prevented rigging. There was an attempt to rig some votes in an election where I was a candidate. The war was still going on in the north, and I appealed to him. So I contacted him and asked him, the people want me in parliament. Why is the army being used to stop me? I think he understood that it was not necessary. First of all, attempts at rigging had failed. Those of you old enough would remember that in Gulu, there was a funny law which talked about voting in restricted areas. So the soldiers who were on the front line would vote, and the ballot papers would come in envelopes, and they are counted. Yet we haven't campaigned to them. But we accepted it because it was the law. So the votes came. I was leading by about 2,000 votes. Then we learned that over 3,000 votes had arrived by helicopter. So naturally I was worried that they would overturn my victory. Later we realized that instead of using the voters register, they had used the army payroll. So even dead soldiers had voted. Sometimes those who rig elections are not so careful. They make mistakes. And if you are keen, you can find out the mistakes. Secondly, they photocopied some ballots which had no serial numbers. So we caught them. So I told the general, this is unacceptable. And the general told those who were doing it that if you cannot even do a bad thing well, then surely there's no way we can save you. If you have made up your mind to do something bad, at least do it well. So that's how Nobert Mao joined Parliament almost 6 weeks after Parliament had started in 1996. So that is the background. Then I became the Vice President of the Salim Saleh Foundation for Humanity since 1997. And I still hold that position. Then I became Vice Chairman of the Uganda Development Forum, which is going to be hosting a very big event starting from tomorrow. So on that basis, and on the basis that the general is staying in my hometown of Gulu, they put me under a lot of pressure. We must beat the general, we must beat the general. So that is the whole hullabaloo. I saw nothing wrong with it. Of course, many people meet General Saleh. Most people meet him secretly. Because in Uganda, because of dishonesty, people want to put another picture in the public. They pretend that they don't want any association with the ruling party. But in the dark, they are all over the place. I don't know why we should encourage that. We should move with the people we disagree with, and our disagreement should be known. But we should operate on the basis of a common ground. It doesn't mean that I must agree with everything you do for me to work with you. Because of the timing of the meeting, the media got very excited. So they started a narrative that Mao has taken DP delegates to be given money by General Salim Saleh. But if you followed my speech, which was in the open, because the meeting was not a secret meeting, and everybody was allowed to have their phones, and they recorded, they took photos and sent them all over. I said that if anybody has come here expecting money, there is nothing like that, because this is not a meeting about giving anybody money. We did our best to take care of the expenses. Up to now, we even still have some debts we are paying, because some people could not travel back because the meeting ended late. The general also made a speech, and he talked about the relationship between DP and the National Resistance Movement. And he told us that for him, he's not a member of National Resistance Movement. For him, he's a soldier. He has nothing to do with that party. He explained very clearly to the delegates. The delegates spoke to him. The delegates said, General, we also want to receive tractors. We also want to receive seeds for our farms. We also want to receive those heifers. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing wrong with that. Any government can deny you a political post, but no government should deny you services. You can see in America, Trump has brought his fellow billionaires to his government, but he serves all Americans equally. And that meeting was not a meeting of my supporters even only. As you can see by the kind of narratives being created, we invited those who wanted to come for the meeting. Those who know me know that I fight fairly and squarely. So I hope that lays to rest the excitement which was in the media. I got a very early morning call from the rumor mongers of CBS. And they were talking a lot of things, as if meeting General Saleh is an offense. There are many people who meet General Saleh, others openly, others secretly. Now, the other day, the ambassadors went there. Had they gone to beg for money? So I think really there's a problem in this country which we have got to deal with. So I again repeat my call to you people in the media to be as balanced as possible when you are reporting. General Saleh is a war hero, an authentic war hero. And if there's any of you who he has wronged, I want those people talking a lot on CBS to tell me what wrong General Saleh has done to them. Or me, for instance, what wrong have I committed against them? I really want to hear that. This party is our party, all of us. So that was the second issue, and I hope it lays to rest anything. The people who attended, not even all of them were delegates. They were interested parties. They numbered about, maybe about 300 at most. That was the total number of people who came. And we hosted them at my home. It's my wife and I who offered the bull to feed them. For those of you who are so excited about money, we contributed to host them and to transport them and to accommodate them. It is my wife who even cooked for them. He did not pay for any catering company as is normally done. So why do we make a mountain out of a molehill? And that is our home. And I invited him to my home because these were my visitors, because they are DPs, and DPs my family. So I hope tomorrow the rumor mongers of CBS will tell the truth to the country. Lastly is the motivation for the hooliganism. When we were in Soroti, I talked about qualifications for president. Now, those qualifications are in black and white. I specifically mentioned our Member of Parliament for Bukoto Central. He was in the meeting. And in my address, I told the meeting that this gentleman is excited for nothing because under the Constitution he is not qualified. You all know that however bright you think you are, unless you register for your name, unless you are qualified, you won't go to the exam room. You know, you cannot force yourself into the exam room to go and sit the exam. First of all, the results will not come out because you are not registered. You may even score 100, but it's only the results of those who are registered. But in spite of that, because of our kind of petty politics, there are a lot of people who have an interest in DP, and I want to speak frankly about that. You know, there are new parties being formed. And those new parties see DP as their fishing ground. But as long as the party is led by a difficult man called Nobert Mao, they will not find it easy to manipulate DP. So actually that is my real crime of being a strong man and being firm. To others, it is that I come from the wrong part of Uganda. There are those who used to say, Sikulemberwa Mucholi. I didn't know that tribe was part of the qualification. Me, I just read the Constitution. So our MP from Bukoto Central has received a lot of support, even from people who are inside the NRM. By the way, not everybody in the NRM is happy with the cooperation agreement. You know, when someone like Nobert Mao becomes part of government, it creates insecurity. So there are very many people who are insecure, powerful people who are very insecure. So some of them believe that to protect their position, they need to weaponize some people within DP to fight Mao. Some of the monies we have seen in these campaigns, DP had never seen them in the last 70 years. Personally, I'm in shock. I haven't even seen that kind. That money must be from a source where there's a lot of money. We have our suspicions, but for now we shall hold our peace. But as usual, we will talk like Brazil. The year that Brazil played England in the finals, the journalist asked the Brazilian captain that, are you not afraid of England, the English defense? Then they said, yeah, we respect the English defense, but we shall also show them Brazilian football. So that is part of the mobilization that you see, because there are those who want to overturn the party constitution. In 2010, my friend and young brother Fred Mukasambide, wanted to be vice president of DP, by force if necessary. And he was told, you are not qualified to be president of DP, and you will not be nominated. He insisted and went with banners and posters and even moved around the country campaigning to be vice president of DP. Then he arrived in Mbale. He had hooligans. They even went and grabbed the microphone from the returning officer. But at the end of the day, the constitution of DP prevailed. And a concession was made by acclamation to make him National Legal Advisor, a position in which he excelled. So our Honorable Member of Parliament, who wants to be DP President, is aware of the constitutional obstacles that unfortunately are insurmountable. And that is not an opinion. It is in black and white. If the Constitution says you must have been an active member of DP for 10 years, and you only resigned as a public servant the other day, then definitely you could not have been an active member. So now those who have eaten his money have no choice but to become hooligans to account for the money. What else can they do? So we are going to be denounced, we are going to be accused, but just read the DP Constitution and be fair to DP. Yesterday, General Saleh told us, you remember General Saleh was appointed a minister. When he reached Parliament, the Honorable Winnie Byanyima raised an objection and said, this one is illiterate. To be a minister, you must be qualified to be a member of Parliament and you must have A level. A whole war hero, a general, had to be humiliated and he walked out of Parliament empty-handed. Because the law is the law. It has to be respected. So he went back to do S4. You remember? He went back to do S6. Then finally he was appointed Minister for Microfinance. So let there be no excitement about how DP runs it. This is our internal matter. Because a political party is an association. And we have rules. And these rules were not set by Mao. They were not set by anybody else. They must apply across the board. So anybody who breaks the rules will not qualify. I can only emphasize that we implement our rules without apology, because it has offended even our friends. We have nothing against anybody. So that is the explanation for the hooliganism, in case you want an explanation. They went and held a meeting. Even people who left DP long ago have found a rallying point. So they want to create trouble in DP so that they can fish in troubled waters. But that is not going to happen. It will not happen as long as I'm in charge of this party. Some of us are like hot porridge. On the surface, we are very cool. But if you make a stupid mistake and you stick your finger underneath that cool crust, even your mother will hear your scream. We are generally very calm. Why are we calm? Because we have seen everything. There's actually nothing I have not seen. Tell me what, I've seen a person's head being cut off. Have you seen it? You have written about it maybe. I've seen a person being shot. When I was a little boy, our school was closed during Amin's time, and we were taken to the bomber ground to witness a firing squad. Imagine, we were little children, less than 10 years old. The school was closed, that come and see Adui being shot. We were taken, we saw that. We have seen governments change here. So we are calm because we are not surprised anymore. So we will not be bullied by noise. I thought I should clarify in very simple terms the motivation behind the hooliganism. Those people who know that the rules will throw them out have even attempted to break into the offices of the party to steal election materials. They have even tried to create a parallel list of delegates. Now, we don't appoint delegates from here. We only receive the names of delegates that come from the grassroots. They are received by the secretariat. That's why I say that nobody owns the delegates. The delegates belong to the party. So if you hear plans of hooliganism, that is the motivation. It is tactics without strategy. When you are just full of tactics, no strategy. Here in DP, we have a story that President Museveni in 1980 wanted to be Secretary General of DP. He was also told, no sir. You see, DP has standards. And we are not going to lower the standard for anybody. We are not going to be like these schools where you get 40% and they say A. Even you'll know that you never got an A with your 40%. So, that is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Don't let anybody go around creating excuses. So they are saying that they are in a campaign of defiance. Are you defying the DP constitution? You cannot defy the DP constitution. Others have said they are going to court. The DP constitution says before you go to court, you must have exhausted internal mechanisms. So, the internal mechanisms are there. You have to come. This friend of ours has even attempted to bribe those in charge of the elections, which in itself is shameful. You can't call a person unless really you have a big crook behind you who wants to mess up DP. So the narratives are many. We have the PFF, which is positioning itself. It has a plan for DP. I think we have the one which was launched the other day. Is it DA? DF. Yes. The DEF. I'm trying to look for an acronym. So DEF was launched the other day. And they are mobilizing those who have been known for creating confusion. And DEF has other party presidents. DEF has a president of PDP. DEF also has a president of SDP. And yet it is also a separate political party. The Uganda that we are in is very, very interesting. So I wish all of you long life so that you see a DP coming, because it is very near. It is not far the way things are moving, because eventually God may eventually compensate us for all the suffering we have endured for 70 years at the hands of UPC, at the hands of NRM, at the hands of Kabaka Yeka, at the hands of the British, and so on and so forth. God balances books. That is what I thought I should share with you, those three things. The first is a message to the delegates of assurance that plans are underway to ensure that they have a wonderful experience, particularly first-time delegates. Musicians are going to be there to entertain them. DPs who are excited in Ankole, and you know they have cows, have offered cows to slaughter for delegates, particularly the young delegates. So why do you take delegates, then they have to run for their lives because of hooliganism? We want there to be a good delegates conference. And we would like the leaders who are elected to prepare candidates for the general elections. Actually, the real superstars of DP are those who win elections for us. We were in Omoro the other day. 152 new members joined from other parties. The flag bearer, parliamentary flag bearer for ANT joined the DP. 5 sitting councillors from NRM and FDC joined DP in Omoro. That is a real stronghold of the Democratic Party. Here we gave away our stronghold when our leader said we should boycott the 1996 elections. So we surrendered Kampala, we surrendered most of Uganda. Let me summarize what I have said in Uganda, unless there's a question in English.
Just one question. It's about the meeting you had in Guru. I just wanted some clarification. As a DP, meeting Sare, what did you discuss about renewing the DP and RM cooperation? If you want to bring out something related to that.
General Saleh, as I've told you, is not part of that that cooperation agreement. That one you will ask me when we meet President Museveni. But in general terms, the cooperation is a proposition. It is a framework. And I hope for once that you have read it. Have you? Yes. You know that it is supposed to expire at the end of this term of government. I actually want to predict that more parties are going to be involved in a similar initiative. After all, we are all advocating for a government of national unity in which everybody is involved. Particularly as President Museveni departs, that government of national unity will be a very strong government to help in national healing, which I hope the President's apology has set the stage for. So DP is the giraffe of Ugandan politics. We have seen far. So we talked about national reconciliation, we talked about the economy, we talked about constitutional reforms, we talked about national dialogue. We never talked about what to do with the cooperation, because that is a matter for DP and the NRM. But he gave us his advice. He said 3 things if you want to know. He said that when they came from the bush, they knew nothing about government. DP was the one running the government, because more than 60% of the ministers were DP. The current economic framework of liberalization was set up by people like Professor Ponciano Mulema. And that's why I'm so disappointed by the kind of people we call leaders in DP today. Because when you compare the standards that DP is known for, then you see the hooligans wanting to lead DP. You really get so annoyed. We had Professor Yoweri Chesimira from Busoga. Those were the people who laid the foundation. Kafumbe Mukasa. Actually, those were the three. Ponciano Mulema, Robert Kitariko, and Sebana Kizito was there, and Yoweri Chesimira, Sam Kutesa. Those were the people. So he said, UDP, what real disagreement did you have? That is one thing. Then the other thing he said is that he believes that DP has credibility as a party. The Secretary General teasingly wanted to give him a honorary membership of the party. I don't know whether that will happen. Maybe it will happen in the future. But that was maybe 5% of the discussion. Most of the discussions were about the government programs. Let me give a summary in Luganda. Njagala kusooka okwetondera abannamawulire. Temukitwala nti tetubawadde kitiibwa, naye wabaddewo embeera wano ku kitebe kyaffe nga waliwo bannaffe abamu abeeyita aba DP nga baagala kukola kavuyo ku kitebe. Embeera eyo tetandise leero. Ne mu kalulu akaayita 2020 waliwo ekibinja ekyajja wano ne kimenya endabirwamu nga bo bagamba baagala Bobby Mao. Abantu abo tubamanyi. Mukimanye nti DP weeri kati waliwo ebibiina ebipya ebitalina bantu, naye byo birowooza tibisobola okufuna abawagizi okuva mu kibiina kya DP. Bataddemu ne ssente mu kalulu ak'okulonda obukulembeze obujja mu kibiina kya Democratic Party. Kati ekizibu kyabwe kiri kimu kyokka. DP ekulemberwa musajja eŋŋwaŋŋuli ayitibwa Nobert Mao. Balina okukola kyonna ekisoboka bamugyewo basobole okuvuga DP nga we baagala. Awo we wali obuzibu, kubanga wobuuza omuntu yenna ti omusango gwa Mao weguliwa, yagamba Mao mubi nnyo, yatuzimbira ekitebe. Mao mubi nnyo, kati tulina ebyapa 3 wakati mu kibuga, ate nga teyasanga yadde kapuloti katooyi gaakutte obukulembeze. Mao mubi nnyo, asobodde okutendeka abavubuka ba DP. Mao mubi nnyo, yasanga tetulina omubaka wa IALA, kati tubalina. Mubi nnyo, yasanga ba MP 6 twagenda ne tuweza 15, era tusuubira mu kalulu akaddako tuyinza n'okugenda mu 50 kubanga weebali tubalaba. Ate nga tusobodde okutambula na buli omu. Eyo yembeera gye tutambuliramu. Ne mu kibiina ky'abannaffe ba NRM mulimu abanene abamu abafunye okukankana lwakuba Mao ayingiddewo asembedde n'ekintu kyabwe. Kubanga oluusi otunuulira obukulembeze nga weebuli ne bwebuuza ti Uganda egenda kukyuka naye line-up eddako y'abaani? Tewali gw'obuuza mu Uganda n'atayogera linnya lya Nobert Mao. Kati ekyo kireesa akazigizigi ne mu kibiina kya bannaffe ki NRM nga bulijjo bo basazeewo okuyingiza ebisawo bya ssente. Mu kalulu kano DP erabye ssente zeetalabangako mu myaka gino 7. Waliwo abanene mu NRM abakankana lwa Mao, kati bo balooza ekinaabataasa kukakanya Mao nga bamugobye ku bukulembeze bwa Democratic Party, ekitasoboka nno mu mbeera gye tulimu. Bano abantu abazze okutiisatiisa wano ku kitebe, nze nabadde njagala kujja naye bannange ne bagamba togendayo. Nze nabadde njagala kujja era mulabye size na bakuumi bange abangi bentambula nabo. Jagadde nzije wano ndaba omuntu mu maaso ge, oba nkuba oluyi oba nkuba kibooko, sijja kudduka, njagala yankube ndabe nga ekyo kyekinamuleetera otulo oba kinaayingiza ssente mu nsawo ye, naye kyemmanyi tebayinza kikola. Njagadde zijje wano sobole okugumya badelegates ba DP. Tukoze kyonna ekisoboka mu mbeera yonna, kuba bannaffe ababadde batuwa ssente, abazungu, aba IRI, Konrad Adenauer, aba Westminster Foundation n'abalala, nabo tebali bulungi nnyo. Naye twagala kakasa ng'oli delegate wa DP ojja kufuna aw'okusula, entambula ojja kufuna, ebyokulya ojja kufuna, tojja kukwata mu nsawo yo kyokozese ssente zo osobole okubeera mu delegates conference. Ekyo tukikusuubiza, tojja kubonaabona. Ate mwe ba delegates muli ba delegates ba kibiina, temuli ba delegates ba muntu yenna, temuli ba delegates ba Mao, temuli ba delegates ba beesimbyewo abalala, muli ba delegates ba DP. DP eteeseteese okubalabirira kyekikulu. Ekyokubiri, security ejja kubeera gulugulu. Bw'atalina bbaluwa ya Secretary General ekuyita, ojja kusigala ku luguudo olugwende Bushenyi, kuba awo woowetera ogenda ku Asama. Abamu tuyinza n'okubalindira erya muleme kwonoona amafuta gammwe. Tubagambirewo nti lwaki mwonoona mafuta? Kubanga twagala badelegates bennyini bateese mu mirembe ate balonde mu mirembe. Tewajja kubaawo omuntu yenna anaaleeta akabuyo konna. Ekyo nakisuubiza bana DP mu 2020 lwe twali wano nga NEC. Bannaffe abamu ne bajja wano ne bamenya amadinisa ne batuggyako entebe mwe twali tutudde. Nze nzekka nze nasigala mu ntebe. Oluvannyuma olukiiko ne lugoba Sulaiman Kidanda olw'embeera. Ku lunaku olwo nategeeza banna DP nti ekintu ekyo tekijja kuddamu kulabika ekitebe kya Democratic Party, era tekijja kulabika. Twagala ba delegates naddala abapya bajje banyumirwe delegates conference, bawulire ti DP enyuma abayimbi weebali, waliwo banna-DP abafunye essanyu ne batugabira n'ente, kuba bo baali balowooza nti oba ekibiina kiriddayo ddi embalala okuzuukusa abanyankole, kati bazuukuse bagenda kutukyaza. Abavubuka mujja kuddayo munyumye. Ensonga ey'okubiri y'ensonga bannaffe bakali lugambo ba CBS abaakedde okunkubira essimu nga bambuuza nnyini y'obeera musango okutuula ne General Salim Saleh eyabalwanirira e Luweero n'agoba eyali asaanyizaawo obwakabaka, y'obeera musango gwa Naggomola okutuula n'omuntu afudde Nakaseke kati okufuuka site erina industrial park eringa eyawano. Meeting eyo sinze nagisaba era teyabadde meeting yange. Waliwo omukulembeze yali musirikale, yali muyeekera, veterani w'eyetteeso bamuyita Fred Oyonga. Nagenda mu lukiiko n'asituka n'agamba, gwe Mao oli mu gavumenti otuula ne General Saleh, bulijjo tulaba abantu babagabira tractor, babagabira ente, embuzi na buli kimu. Ffe lwaki ebintu ebyo tetubifuna? Twagala otegeke tugende tusinkane General Saleh, ffe ebyaffe tubimubuulire. Ze nenkola meeting mu maka gaffe ekkulu era ensonga bazoogedde. Naye bakali lugambo bano aba CBS nga bulijjo we bakola balunga omunnyo, binzaali n'ebyobulimba. Mao atutte abalonzi ba DP ewasale Saleh abagabire sente basobole okumulonda. Bannaffe, omuntu yenna yawulidde ebigambo byange nayogedde kaati omuntu yenna aze wano ng'alowooza aze kufuna sente ogenda kuswala, kubanga tewali sente z'ogenda kufuna wano. Tukoze kyonna ekisoboka okufunira abantu entambula. Ze ne mukyala wange twa sente okusobola okugabula abazze, n'embuzi ne takis 2, takis zabadde 3. Emu nno Mwesigwa ye yagituwa, twali tugikuumye, eyo nayo yafuuse saddaaka. Twasobodde okutegeka olukuŋŋaana olwo, abakulembeze abo beeyogerere, ate bonna tebaabadde ba delegates, ate bonna ku bawagizi ba Mao, kuba abawagizi bange abamu abasinga tebazzi. Olukuŋŋaana lwabadde lwa economics oba kyewandiise mu Sevenomics. Kintu ekyo kyazze kubanga abantu bazze bagoberera engeri gyentuulamu ne General Saleh kuviira ddala mu 1996. Yantaasa mu kalulu, banne baali baagala kabba n'abasuuza ekintu era abasinga bamukyawa. Gwe mukwano ogwo, si gwa ssente, si gwa byabufuzi, it is a personal friendship. Ze nakola mulimu gwa lutindo, si musango okutuula n'omuntu akulira programu erwanisa obwavu era ezimba obugagga. mu batuuze ba Uganda. N'olwekyo oba lwakuba akalulu ka DP kasembedde, abamu ne balowooza nti bakakozese ti Mao atutte ba delegates General Salaba we ssente. Era mubuuze ba delegates abagenzeeyo nti mwafunye mmeka, bajja kubabuulira. Abafuna ssente mubamanyi, abayimbi, abantu bwe batyo. Simanyi buli asinkana omukulu oyo, simanyi embeera ebeerawo, naye nga meeting eno ebadde ku nsonga ya nkulakulana. Era si ye meeting egenda okusembayo, wajja kubeerawo meetings endala, kubanga naffe tuli bannayuganda, naffe twagala tufunemu mu gavumenti yaffe eno ey'abannayuganda. Basobola okutumma emirimu egy'ebyobufuzi, naye gavumenti teyinza kutumma opportunities z'enkulakulana. Ensonga ey'okusatu gye ndowooza nti eyaleetedde bannaffe abamu okujja okulumba ekitebe ne Kerere okuwogana kubeekalakaasa, ndowooza ya mukwano gwaffe omubaka waffe owa Bukoto South, manya Bukoto Central, eyali yeesowoddeyo ayagala kuvuganya ku bwa president. Okuvuganya ku bwa president olina okugoberera amateeka. Constitution ya DP egamba okuvuganya olina kubanga obadde active member okumala emyaka 10. Ate etteeka eryo likwata buli omu, lyakwata ne mukwano gwange muto wange Mbidde. Mbidde yali ayagala kwesimbawo ku bwa vice president w'ekibiina kya DP, n'anoonya n'akalulu ng'atambula eggwanga lyonna agenda asinkana ba delegates okutuuka Embaale ne bamukuba stop. Tisebo wano toyitawo. Yaleeta n'abantu abakuba eŋŋuumi, eyatambuza emirimu gy'okulonda ne bamuggyako akazindaalo. Naye woogezaako okumenya amateeka, amateeka ge gajja okumenya. Bwe yalaba ekitangaala, embeera n'ekakkana, ne tukkiriza nti afune ekifo ekirala ekya National Legal Advisor. Era ekyo kyamuyamba nnyo, abantu ne balaba obusobozi bwe. Kati munnaffe omubaka wa Bukoto Central nze namulabula, ate akutemyako oyagala wambazi. Namulabula mu lukuŋŋaana lw'Esolo ne mugamba, ssebo nkuwulira, kuwulira ovuuma naye tosimbula. Naye lwakuba ayina abamuwaga, ng'ate abamu bali mu NRM, nga project yakusuula Mao, lw'okuba Mao abasuza batunula, ye n'alowooza nti amateeka tegajja kumukwata. Namulabula namugamba nti ssebo soma ssemateeka. Ate n'ekirala, obukulembeze bwa DP tebuli awo nti bwakuwamba, naddala ku levo y'obwa president. Ekifo ekyo Katonda akirimu. N'olwekyo omuntu yenna alowooza nti ajja kufuna, ajja kupangisa abantu bajje bawogane bakole kino na kiri, ekyo tekikyusa ssemateeka. Eyo si embeera gye tugenda okutambuliramu. Njagadde mutegeere ki ekireetedde bannaffe abamu okugezaako okujja okwekalakaasa. Balina kwewozaako kubanga balidde ssente z'abendi, balina kukola accountability. Ssebo naawe watulabye twagezezaako. Njagadde nnyonnyole ensonga ezo essatu. Ensonga esooka yeyo kugumya ba delegates n'okubategeeza nti bo bagenyi ba DP, si bagenyi ba candidate yenna. Ekyokubiri, okusobola okunnyonnyola ku meeting eyabadde eggulu n'omukulembeze wa Operation Wealth Creation. Bannaffe abamu mu mawulire ababadde batandise okuyingizamu ebitali bituufu, naddala nga beesigamye ku ŋŋambo z'abantu. Meeting teyabadde yakyama, abantu bayingidde n'amasimu gaabwe ne balikodinga ne bakola ne video beeyogeredde, era meeting yabadde misanatuku era si yegenda okusembayo kubanga Uganda tegenda kuggwaawo leero. Naye kanjogere nga Kalanzi, gavumenti eddako ejja kubeera gavumenti ya bibiina byonna. N'abatwogerera kati bayogera lulimi lwa DP: transition, national dialogue, national reconciliation, constitutional reforms. Ebyo bigambo byaffe nyini baagala kubitusuuza, bo bajje bakulembere, naye batusanze tulaba. Ffe nga DP tuli ntugga, tumaze okulengera ebisolo ebirala ebimpi. Temubuuza ti DP ekoze etya, mugoberere, era ndaba mugoberera. Ekyokusatu, njagadde okunnyonnyola ku lwaki bannaffe abamu baagala kuteekawo embeera ti waliwo oba omupango okujja abantu abamu mu kalulu ka DP. Omupango ogwo tegusobola kubeerawo. Olaba ne General Salemu nnyini baali bamuwadde ogwa minisita, amateeka tebaamugoba. Badde neerabidde ne Seya Haji Nasa Ntegese Bagala, minisita wa Fort Portal. Mumujjukira yagendayo ne bamugamba, ssebo, okusinziira ku mateeka tolina bisaanizo. N'olwekyo omuntu yenna ayagala okukulembera DP terina gyeraga. DP weeri enkya leero n'okwosa enkya ejja kubeerawo olubeerera paka Yesu lwalidda okweddiza obukulembeze bwonna mu ggulu ne mu nsi. Omuntu yenna abeere mukkakamu, obanga oli wa kugikulembera ojja kikulembera kubanga ojja kisanga. Muve mu by'okupapa. Abantu mwenna abampuliriza musale pressure. Delegates conference egenda kubaawo mu mirembe, ejja kuyitawo. Enjuba ejja kubanga era eva buvanjuba ng'edda bugwanjuba. Obanga olina by'olina era ojja kubisigaza. Obanga tobiina n'enkeera ojja kubanga tobiina. Obanga oli muwanvu ojja kusigala ng'oli muwanvu. Obanga oli mumpi ojja kusigala ng'oli mumpi. Naye ekigenda okukyuka, banna-DP bennyini bagenda kuddamu okwagala ekibiina kyabwe kubanga bajja kukakasa ddala kisobola okuyimirirawo mu mbeera yonna. Juzi twayaniriza abantu 152 nga bavudde mu bibiina ebyenjawulo beesoze Democratic Party. Ne twaniriza ne bakansala 5 ku level ya district, sitting councillors. Ne twaniriza ne flag bearer wa ANT eyeesimbawo ku bwa parliament. Ekyo kitegeeza ki? Abagamba nti mawase DP mawase. Okay, sobola okukkiriza nti waliwo bye nsobola okutta. Nsobodde okutta obusosoze mu DP n'ebyokusosola amawanga mu DP. Ebyo byonna bisse era tebijja kuzuukira mu Democratic Party. Bigezaako okuzuukira naye tebijja kuzuukira. Sobola okutta emirandira gya kabaka yekka mu Democratic Party era zijja kwetonda ku lwekyo. Abo abagamba simanyi kibiina ky'abajjajja bamanye nti DP eriwo kati. DP ya mulembe guno ogwa Mao, ate DP ey'embeera eno eri mu Uganda kati tuli masaŋŋanzira, tuli ku koona, tulina okubanga tetuddaawo okukaayanira steering ng'ate tuli mu mayengo. Wabaawo ekibuuzo kyonna mu Luganda, amiina. Kambaddize Honorable Okolere.
Allow me, the chairman of the management committee, give us a brief of the fully nominated candidates that have qualified.
Okay, good evening. I'll be very short. Members of the press, about a month or two ago, I was given Let's wait for that vehicle to get out. Okay, I think we can start. I was given a duty to perform. But before that, I would like to condemn what took place here. I now have a hand that cannot even open a door. I was pushed by a man called Mulindwa Chikweno. If he does not apologize to me, I'll handle him. Now, my job was simply to follow this. This is the constitution of the Democratic Party. Regardless of what the president has said here, ever since I got this job in 2020, nobody has ordered me to do anything, and certainly nobody can order me to do anything. My job was to get a fully completed form. That was the requirement. Membership card, photocopy, academic qualifications, branch letter, nomination fees, and the requirements. If you had all those, then I would look at what the Constitution says about your position you are asking for. I have been sleeping at 5 o'clock. Because out of 180 people who picked forms, 129 brought them back, and they had an average of 20 pages. And I was alone. I had to read all the over 3,000 pages so that I could give justice to the people who applied. Along the way, my very close friends have been eliminated. It is not me. It is the Constitution. So the NEC has 54 positions. 31 are unopposed. 18 are women. In Mbarara, the delegates are going to elect 23 positions. 78 people qualified to get on this list. This is the first time. This is the first time this list is being seen. I typed it myself, Nobody has seen it before me. I'm showing it to you for the first time. Actually, last night I finished typing it at 11 p.m. and I was not comfortable leaving it in my sitting room, lest somebody comes and takes it. I slept with it in the bed. So, the positions that are going to be competed for, rather, those that are unopposed. I have those who picked forms for particular positions, and nobody else picked forms for those particular operations. Most of those are regional. We have got about 20-something sub-regions. By sub-regions, we mean West Nile, Lango, Teso, Bugisu, Kigezi, like that. So, most of the regional, sub-regional representatives are unopposed, except Kampala, where we have Kwata Kunsao Chiwanuka Frederick, who is going to contest against Bashir, the incumbent, Bashir Kamis. That is if they hit the last deadline. I have got Acholi, where two people, Obol Simpleman and Onono Fred, are going to contest. But to cut the long story short, let me talk about the big posts and I leave the other. The president, the person who applied to be vice president in northern Uganda, is Honorable Peter Okot. He's the president member of parliament for Tochi. He's unopposed. Nobody else picked papers. Deo Njoki, the vice president for eastern Uganda. Nobody picked papers other than him. He's also unopposed. The post of vice president of Uganda is between Tina Warugembe and the incumbent George Fred Kajimu of Festino. Two people picked forms for vice president Western. Remember, I told you, you must attach a branch letter. One of the two recommended himself instead of getting a recommendation from another person. Certainly, Georgia Twitter is by the wayside. So that makes Imam Makumbi unopposed. I go to the Deputy Secretary Workers League. I saw her here. She's Aisha Kakwa Tivaroha from Fort Porto. She's unopposed. The Secretary Workers League is called Tukuneko. He's unopposed. The Deputy Secretary, International and Diaspora, those are going to compete. Yasin Semakula Amin, Aluki George, and Asau Sande. The Deputy Secretary, the Secretary International Relations, is a US-based member. Edema Rodrigo is unopposed. The Deputy Secretary of the Women's League is Winifred Nakalembe, unopposed. This one here. The Secretary for Women's League, Mesiko Fiona from West Nile, and Kulaba Kofi, I saw her here, from Mijiana. Those are going to compete. The Deputy President of the Women's League, Barbara Alwoko, Deborah Kisa, and Bernadette Osinge. Those are going to compete. The President of the Women's League, one of you, Sarah Adongo, is going to compete with Nakuya Aida and Nachanja Anet Mawete. Nakuya Anet Mawete is one of those who came with those tags here. Nachanja. The sub-regional representative, okay, all those are West Nile, Sebei, Teso, Busoga, they are going to compete. Jeremiah Rugogove and Wakabi Joseph. In Bugisu, Majid Katende is unopposed. I'm about to finish. Masaka Dick Luchamus is unopposed. Karamoja Nyanga Pascal is unopposed. Bukedi David Indinywa Pande is unopposed. Mukono and Luwero, Godfrey Chiji, I saw him here, is unopposed. That is the former Mpigi district. Ankole Andrew Atuhaire is unopposed. Akatwijuka Moses Tigezi is unopposed. Secretary for the Deputy Secretary for the Elderly, Yancy George, is unopposed. Secretary Elderly Bishaka will compete against Namwanza Eliana from Jinja. Deputy Secretary Veterans, Obini Gerard, Deputy Secretary Obini Gerard is unopposed. Secretary for Veterans, Nobert Mao was talking about, Oyonga is unopposed. Secretary for UID, Adam Sengova. Deputy Secretary UID, Adam Sengova is unopposed. Secretary UID, Nachibule Hajara is unopposed. Deputy President UID, Asiku will compete against Nanyanzi. President UID, Helen Sayuni will compete against Simpuge. Deputy National Advisor, that man there, you come here. That man is a lawyer. Subuga Kenneth from Mukono. He actually came from the NRM. The National League Advisor is Doreen Akware. Vice Chairman, 2 are going to compete, Leandro Komaket and Opoka Simon. Deputy National Treasurer John Bosco Kamoga and Deo Chiji are competing. National Treasurer Mary Babiye Kabanda is competing with Zimula Kasirie. Deputy Secretary General, that lady, Wechtiva Christine Mugiroa Kasule, is unopposed. Secretary General Siranda is competing with Ismail Kiria and Richard Lumu. National Vice President Fred Mukasambide is competing against Ziwa Charles, both are from Masaka. National Chairman Dr. Mayambala is competing against Gilbert was here, Gilbert Sami. And finally, those who hit the mark to compete for presidential elections. Article 64 of the DP Constitution says qualification for party offices. A person shall qualify to be elected national chairman, president, or vice president of the party if he has been an active member of the party for at least 10 years, or a member of the National Council for at least 5 years. 5 people picked forms. Julius Dumba, Richard Sebamala, Alitia Elia, and Nobert Mao. The following are the ones who have fulfilled what is here. Nobody is removing anybody. It is this constitution. And I'm wholly responsible for this list because nobody ordered me to do anything. And certainly nobody can. Lulu Mebaiga, he was proposed by Buyinza and Edith Byanyima. Elia Atia was proposed by Gaspar Pirio and A. Sandy. Nobert Mao was proposed by Herbert Utagwera and Fred Mwesiku. That is all. Thank you very much. If media you have 1, 2, 3 questions, I'm willing to answer. If not, thank you very much.
mu Luganda tubulira ensonga lwaki lwaki Sebamala olijeemu
sirina muntu gwe nzijeemu naye okuvuganya ku bwa president oteeka okuba nga obadde mu kibiina at least emyaka 10 oba memba wa National Council emyaka 5. Richard Sebamala yafuuka memba wa National Council eggulu ng'ennaku z'omwezi 19 Septemba 2020. Emyaka 5 gijja kuwera mu Septemba omwaka guno. Ekyokubiri, tatadde bujulizi mu fayiro ye obulaga nti abadde active mu kibiina emyaka 10. Actually mu fayiro ye yeewaddeko obujulizi nti tafiitinga kubanga yawandiikamu nti yafuna waiver kitegeeza nti bw'oba kino tokirina na kino bayinza okugamba kale bweba ebibuuzo nti onoosasula olulala naye yitawo obikole. Kati mu bitabo bye byennyini yawandiikamu nti yasaba waiver okusobola okwesimbawo 220. Kati bw'oba tewalina qualification ezo n'osaba waiver ne weewaako obujulizi ne weetulisaako bonu, Kennedy Mutenyo y'ani akulegamu? So akatabo kano ke kabajjeemu bonna. I am wholly responsible. Essaawa eno ngenda Mbarara, abaagala okunoonya nga bwe mbadde mu ntiisa. Waliwo omwami gwe najjeemu kubanga mukozi wa gavumenti, amateeka tegakikkiriza, yaleeta ne ssente okuzimpaawo n'enzigaana. Eggulo baatudde Embaale bafune abakazi babansibeko bakole amawulire. Omu kubo n'afuluma n'ankubira essimu. Bwe munaagenda n'omulala yannoonya okutuusa olera mugamba sijja kulaba. Ayagala nsula lubaga ajja nnoonya. After all, my father is dead. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala. Kaakati omulimu gwe bampa Gerard Siranda ali Soroti Mbarara taliiwo. Ebyange biwedde. Owekitiibwa katukola omulimu gwo gwa deputy yiino kandi gukwase mwe mumanyi. Ekyo kitegeeza bw'oba toli kuno waliwo abadde awanika omukono aliwa abadde awo asooyo sookodde wali mu bintu bino n'emikwano gyange mbajjeemu. Omwami oyo ye Ntale Andrew, posita ye ebadde wali, yabadde asaba ekifo kya president UID. Amateeka ga Uganda Youth olina okubeera emyaka 3 n'okudda wansi. Empapula ze yaleeta ziriko emyaka 3 n'emyezi emeka, ne bawandibadde ng'oyiseemu olunaku lumu obadde ovaamu. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala. Nannyini buyinza.